离婚以后我就后悔了，但是说什么都晚了。
Divorce made me truly realize how impulsive my decision was at the time. Now I deeply regret it, but it's already too late. My ex-husband refuses to reconcile, and no matter how hard I try to win him back, it's no use. I want to use my own experience to remind all women, never bring up divorce lightly, you will truly regret it. The vast majority of women regret their divorce, possibly more than 98%. I used to be extremely dominant in my marriage, always feeling like I had married the wrong person. Nothing my husband did looked right to me, and I constantly thought he didn't earn enough. He couldn't give me the life I wanted, and I always tried to change him, never once reflecting on my own problems. Later, I thought if I just found another man, I would definitely be happier. So I chose to divorce. However, what truly woke me up was a video my son sent me. At that moment, I completely broke down. I finally understood that in the matter of divorce, the ones who get hurt the most are always the children. So I wanted to get back together, to give my child a complete family, but my ex-husband refused me, because he could see that I truly regretted it. After the divorce, I met another man who was 5 years older than me. I thought he could bring me happiness, but reality hit me hard. Not only did he not take care of me, he constantly asked me for money, and even hit me when I refused. It was only then that I truly understood the meaning of that old saying, if a woman couldn't make her first marriage work, her second marriage will only be harder. Sisters, if you're holding on to the fantasy of changing a man will bring happiness, I advise you to wake up as soon as possible. Real happiness doesn't come from switching partners. Especially for women, after divorce, it's nearly impossible to find a man better than your ex-husband. In fact, the reality is, the more you look, the worse it gets. Now I truly regret it. If I hadn't divorced, at least my child would still have a complete and warm home. And my husband was genuinely good to the child. Now I finally understand, when something goes wrong in a marriage, I myself am the biggest reason. I was too dominant, too stubborn, and never once looked down to reflect on myself. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely cherish the man who once sincerely treated me well.
我的上一段婚姻里，我是属于强势的一方。
1 year after the divorce, I have many thoughts I'd like to share with everyone. In my previous marriage, I was the one who appeared to be strong and dominant, really exhausted. But if I said that my strength was actually forced out by life step by step, there would definitely be people who would disagree with me. But I truly believe that in a family, in a marriage, when a woman becomes dominant, more than 90% of the time, it's because she was pushed by the harsh reality and heavy family responsibilities. But after going through so much, I still want to advise women who are still in marriage, don't be too strong in your relationship. Because the stronger you are, the less understanding you'll get from your partner, and it will only make everyone in your household feel anxious and drained. Don't keep thinking about what your friends have, or what others have. Let others live their own lives. It's enough for us to live peacefully in our own 3-bedroom apartment. Just live our small life well. If he can at least provide you with 3 meals a day, then that's already enough. If your partner really isn't someone with great ability, that's okay. As long as he can feed you, as long as he can make sure you have 3 meals a day, that's enough. When you marry a chicken, follow the chicken. When you marry a dog, follow the dog. Your mood will be much better, really. I used to always compare my ex-husband to other people's husbands. I constantly disliked how he had no money, no ambition. But only after the divorce did I realize that the men I met afterward, none of them were as genuinely good to me as my ex-husband. They all had their own agendas, and they usually didn't have money either. All they had were fake sweet words. Now, my biggest wish is to get back together with my ex-husband. I truly regret it so much.
我离婚3年了，和前夫有2个女儿。今天上午为了孩子，我第一次主动联系了前夫。
I have been divorced for 3 years, and my ex-husband and I have 2 daughters. This morning, for the sake of the children, I contacted him for the first time in years, and what happened afterward left me with mixed emotions. The reason behind it was actually quite simple. After dropping the 2 girls off at school in the morning, I suddenly felt a surge of emotion and decided to call my ex-husband. This was the first time I had contacted him on my own since our divorce 3 years ago. As soon as he picked up the phone, he blurted out, "What is it? Any instructions from the boss?" That tone, that attitude, it made me instantly furious. I thought, how much fake liquor has he drunk to dare speak to me like this? We've been divorced for so many years and he still has the nerve to mock me by calling me boss. I ignored his sarcasm and calmly said, "What instructions could I possibly have? Our 2 daughters are about to start middle school, and the expenses are getting higher and higher. My current income isn't great. Although you do send some child support every month, to be honest, it's far from enough." Just as I finished speaking, he immediately transferred 10,000 yuan to me and said, "The girls are ours, this is what I should contribute." He said that back when we got divorced, he was insistent on fighting for custody of the girls, not for pride, but because he was worried I'd have a hard time raising them alone. It was only because I was so determined that he finally gave in and agreed to let me take the children. Hearing this, I was a bit stunned. I hadn't expected him to be hiding such thoughts in his heart. I replied, "Thank you for your generosity and understanding." Unexpectedly, right after I said that, he transferred me another 10,000 yuan and said, "That first 10,000 was for the kids, this one is for you." He said, "You're always reluctant to spend on yourself. If there's something you like, just go ahead and buy it. Don't be so hard on yourself all the time." As he spoke, he urged me to take better care of my health, saying that over the years I've worked too hard for the family and endured too much. It's time to start treating myself better. He also told me to take the kids out more on weekends, have some nice food, buy a few new outfits, and make both myself and the girls look beautiful and happy. Hearing all this, I fell silent. My heart was overwhelmed with emotions. I couldn't help but wonder, if he had been this caring, this considerate back then, would we have ever gotten divorced in the first place? Then I softly asked him, "How have you been lately? Have you found someone who cooks and does laundry for you?" He laughed and said, "Where would I find someone like that? After the divorce, I never thought about finding anyone else." He said he had already quit his old job and opened a farm equipment repair shop. During the day, he fixes machinery and travels to rural areas for service. If he's not too tired in the evening, he'll go out and deliver food orders. Even though it rains or the wind blows and he's up early and home late, he feels that life is still fulfilling. The only downside is that when he comes home, there's no warm meal, no children's noise, the house is so quiet, it's a little scary. He said that sometimes, staying at home is worse than going out to deliver food, at least it distracts him and helps him earn some money. Hearing that, I didn't feel good either. I said to him, "You have your peace and quiet, but over here the 2 girls are right in their rebellious phase. They don't listen to anything I say and talk back all the time." I told him that just last night, after 11 p.m., the girls were still playing on their phones. I tried to say a few words, but the younger one threw her phone in frustration, and I ended up slapping her. She cried and shouted that she wanted to go find her dad. At that moment, my heart shattered. I hugged them both and cried with them. Before the divorce, I thought life would be freer, but I didn't realize the harm it would do to the children, far more than I had imagined. They've become withdrawn and silent, and the teachers keep calling me in. I have to juggle work and school responsibilities, and I'm completely drained. He said he often feels guilty too. He said all of this happened because he was too impulsive and immature back then, always losing his temper at me. Now, even his parents blame him, saying he's lived his life in vain, that he couldn't even keep a good, sensible wife, and now his 2 lovely granddaughters are suffering. He said he regrets it with all his heart. We both fell silent again at that point. A few minutes later, he suddenly said, "Look at how hard we're both living now, how tough things have become. Why don't we get back together?" After saying that, he transferred me another 20,000 yuan, saying it was all the money he earned last month from the repair shop and food deliveries. He said, "I've been working like crazy these past few years just to get everything stable. Now I have some savings and I know how to cherish things. Give me one more chance. Let's bring the family back together and start fresh, okay? I promise I'll never let you suffer again. I'll make sure you and our daughters live happy and stable lives. If you say yes now, I'll take all of you home immediately." After hearing all of that, I truly felt a whirlwind of emotions. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't moved. I was indeed swayed. If I say yes, it's good for the children and maybe a new beginning for us, but if I do say yes, I'm also scared. Scared we'll repeat the same mistakes, that the old problems will destroy us once more. But if I say no, I feel it would be a pity. After all, in today's world, finding someone who truly knows you, sincerely cares about you, and is willing to give everything for you, is incredibly rare. Especially for someone like me, a divorced woman, it's really hard to find a better man now. What do you think? What should I do?
离婚，我后悔了，因为离婚
Divorce. I regret it. Behind that piece of divorce agreement was a price far greater than I had imagined. I thought I was just ending a relationship. Now I've become the bad woman in the eyes of people in the village, the unfilial daughter in the mouths of my parents, and the bad mother everyone casually criticizes. People say harsh things. A divorced woman is never a good one. A good woman would never get divorced. My parents are true rural folks. They believe that once a woman from the countryside gets divorced, it brings shame to the whole family, making us the laughingstock of the neighbors, the target of gossip. Because I had no money, I had no confidence to fight a lawsuit, and in the end, I didn't get custody of the child. From that moment on, I bore the label of irresponsible. Today is my son's birthday, but I can't even be with him tonight to have a piece of cake. His grandparents are afraid I'll get too close to him, afraid he won't want to leave me again, so they won't let me see him more. I'm truly heartbroken. Over the past 4 years, I've asked myself countless times in the dead of night, was it really the right decision to just walk away back then? Why couldn't I hold on a little longer? Even if my ex-husband didn't earn much, and our life was very hard. But even if it was just for the child, what would have been so bad about enduring it a little more? But now, regret is useless. I may have lived a life that didn't owe anyone else, but the one person I've failed is my child. I still remember the first month after the divorce. I took my child to the supermarket. He was only 6 years old then, yet after we paid, he gently tugged on my hand and said, "Mom, I'm sorry I spent your 293 yuan." In that moment, it felt like a knife pierced my heart. How could a child so young already feel this kind of burden? I held back tears, but deep inside I was filled with self-loathing. How much of a failure must I be, to let a 6-year-old feel guilty over a few hundred yuan? From that day on I secretly vowed, I have to earn money, even if it kills me, I must earn money. Not just for the money itself, but to let my child live with dignity and pride. Back then, my mom scraped together 200,000 yuan for me, and I decided to start a business. I started from scratch, learning and managing a shop during the day, and going door to door in residential complexes at night, handing out flyers, adding people on WeChat. It was midsummer, the temperature was 40 degrees Celsius, and I walked the streets dressed in a mascot costume. Some customers saw me drenched in sweat and asked, "Aren't you tired?" I said, "Of course I'm tired." But I had no other choice. For 4 years, I hardly had a single real day off. My body was completely wrecked, my hair fell out in clumps, my period stopped coming, but I didn't dare stop. Every time I wanted to give up, I'd remember my child saying, "Sorry for the 293 yuan," and strength would come back to me. Later on, I started trying to promote my little shop online. At first, I didn't dare say much, afraid I'd say something wrong, afraid of embarrassment, afraid of being recognized by people I knew. But whenever I thought of what my child said in the supermarket that day, I stopped being afraid of anything. I laid my life out in front of the camera, held nothing back. Some people didn't understand, said I was already this old and still had no shame. Wasn't I embarrassed? But I couldn't afford to care, because I had to make money for my child. To be honest, what adult doesn't want to live with dignity and decency? But I just couldn't live a dignified life. I had no background, no resources, no connections. So I could only survive by throwing away my pride. Step by step, I endured and became my own background. Today is my son's 10th birthday. I have 1,000 things in my heart I want to say to him. Baby, please wait for mommy a little longer, just give me a bit more time. Mommy has never stopped loving you. You are the reason I'm still alive. I carried you for 10 months, grew to 200 gene, and still willingly went under the knife for you. To me, that was all worth it. But I really need you to grow up just a little slower. Give me more time, I will work myself to death if I must, just to catch up with your pace. Mommy is no longer afraid of hardship. I will keep running this shop, keep fighting. Even if the whole world curses me, mocks me, I won't care. The only thing I care about is that every road you walk in the future will be lit. And every one of those lights was lit by me.
Why is it that after divorce, most men are unwilling to remarry their ex-wives? In China, over 80% of divorce applications are initiated by women. But what's surprising is many of these women, shortly after the divorce, or after a few months, or even a few years, suddenly want to remarry. Yet by this time, the man often remains firm. Absolutely no turning back. Why is that? The key lies in the fact that during the early stages of the divorce, the man has already gone through a phase of giving it his all to save the marriage. He humbled himself, admitted fault, and did everything within his power. He even bore pains, accusations, and financial losses that he shouldn't have had to bear. Not because he was weak, but because he genuinely couldn't let go of the relationship, and especially couldn't let go of the child. For many men, the most painful part of divorce isn't the end of love, but the irreversible harm it brings to their child. But in this society, people always tend to put the blame on men. They say, if a woman files for divorce, it must be because the man is useless. These sarcastic remarks are like invisible blades, cutting into a man's heart piece by piece. And what's the real truth? It's often the complete opposite. Many divorces in reality don't stem from major, fundamental issues, but rather from a woman acting on a momentary emotional impulse. Dissatisfaction in the relationship, a life that's less than ideal, lack of money, or being influenced by girlfriends persuading her to leave, or toxic self-help nonsense. She mistakenly believes the outside world is more exciting and that she deserves someone better, so she leaves on impulse. But they underestimate how hard life can be and the cost of starting over. Only when they truly step out do they realize the ideal man in their imagination is far rarer than they thought, and the hardship and loneliness of a new life is even harder to endure than the trivial quarrels of marriage. Only then do they finally realize that husband who quietly took care of everything at home might actually be the most suitable and dependable person after all. But by this time, the man has changed. He once begged you, waited for you, and held up that shattered marriage for as long as he could. But you chose to walk away without hesitation, clean and decisive. And now, even though you come back crying, his heart has gone cold. A man's purity isn't just about love. It's about self-respect, trust, and loyalty. It's not that he doesn't love anymore. It's that he was hurt too deeply. So, stop asking why men don't want to remarry. Some kinds of love, once missed, are missed forever. Some people, once gone, are never coming back. Do you agree with my opinion? Have you ever encountered similar stories in your life? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you in the next video.